Welcome back, friends. We got chimichurri, pickled red onions, and cowboy butter, which are all great ways to improve your steak. We'll do the pickled red onions first because they are the easiest. One large red onion cut in half. Then I will actually cut off the root and the stem, and I like to cut them from root to stem when I slice them as thin as I can. I saw Ethan Chilbowski, I can't pronounce his name, but he's a much better cook and more famous YouTuber than me. He did this for pickled red onions, and I've done it ever since, and I really like the texture and the way they turn out. Then I'll grab a mason jar, crush 1 clove of garlic, throw it in there. After that, I put the whole onion in the jar, or almost the whole onion. I couldn't quite fit the little bits at the end. Then we'll go ahead and do equal parts apple cider vinegar and water that I boiled on the stove in a pot. I also added the honey and the salt to the pot. The full recipe is linked in the description, by the way. Go ahead, bring that to a boil. Once it gets to a boil, I'm going to take it and pour it back over the onions that are in the mason jar. And then I let it sit on the counter for about a half hour before I throw it in the fridge. And the next day you can see they look fantastic. They're ready to go in like 2 hours, but I feel like they're better the next day. Now this is not only great on steak, but it's also good on tacos, deli sandwiches, subs. I would highly recommend this. Next we got a chimichurri, which is fresh herbs, oil, and vinegar. It's so good on steak, but it does involve a little bit of knife work. It took me a little while to do this. Or if you'd like, you can take this recipe and just throw it in a food processor, but I did it with a knife. I did half a cup of fresh parsley, just chopped up about as small as I could go, just really went to town on this thing. Then follow that with a 1/4 cup of fresh cilantro, also, chopped it down real well. 3 cloves of garlic minced, a half a teaspoon of red pepper flake. You could add more if you want more heat. I just did half a teaspoon. 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, juice of a half of a lemon, 1/3 cup of extra virgin olive oil. Since this is a big part of the recipe, I got the nicest one I could find at the store. It was like $15, which is, I am pretty darn cheap, and that was hard for me to buy that, but I got the nicest extra virgin olive oil I could find. Then go ahead and add your salt and your pepper to taste. This is so fresh, so delicious. It's not just for steak. Put it on potatoes, put it on veggies, or if you're ever making like a steak sandwich, this and a little bit of mayo, in my opinion, is like so good. Cowboy butter. Okay, so you can use this as a dipping sauce, or you could just place some of the butter on the steak as it rests, or I basted a steak with it in a cast iron pan on my griddle. I haven't quite perfected the griddle to cast iron pan method, so I'm not going to go over that, but once I do get it down, I'm going to do a video on it. Here's the recipe for the butter. 1 stick of unsalted butter, melted or softened. I just left my stick of butter on the counter for about an hour, then threw it in the microwave for 20 minutes to soften it. You could also put all of these ingredients in a pot and just on the stove and melt it all down if you'd like. But I just let mine soften because I was going to roll it into like a little butter log. 2 cloves of garlic minced, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, a tablespoon of lemon juice, teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, half a teaspoon of red pepper flake, 1 tablespoon of chopped fresh parsley, 1 teaspoon of fresh chives, half a teaspoon of smoked paprika. This was really good. This really brought a smoky flavor to it. Salt and pepper again to taste. This is also great on shrimp, or I also used this on the potatoes when I did those on the griddle. I just kind of threw everything in the cast iron pan together, the red potatoes, and it just turned out fantastic. Like I said, all 3 of these recipes are below, and they're all in my Griddle 101 ebook. They're definitely things you want to know. If you want to see how I cook a steak on the griddle, typically check out that video. It's on your screen now. Thank you for watching, and keep on griddling, friends.